suddenly the other diver who I'm with just turns over and passes out, and we're in a few meters of water, and I get him to the surface. We lift his head above the water level as much as I can, get the mouthpiece out of his mouth, inflate both of us and everything else, and luckily he comes to. He takes a breath, he comes to, he's fine. It wasn't the end, and by then the instructor had come back, and together we got him back to the beach. And what it turned out, of course, is that there was a blockage in the gas feed, and he was slowly, over the last few minutes, he'd been breathing less and less oxygen with each breath, and we were shallow, and that was that. He'd just gone hypoxic and flipped out. And that, I mean, this is really early days, and we, the concept that the narrow feed that was taking the gas, the nitrox, it was into the rebreather, could get blocked that way, and that you would not notice that it had got blocked.
Wow.
And that would be it. And he wasn't, and the fact that hypoxia could render you unconscious just like that, just by like snapping your fingers. These are things that we just weren't aware of. And it sounds impossibly naive now, but that's how it was. We just didn't know. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had multiple guys on here who dove with the rebreathers back in the 90s.
Yeah,
like I remember John
that was his prep for
Chatterton
the Britannic, right?
telling me
I remember
he
that.
had,
I
I think,
remember that
5
very well.
failures or something the first weekend he was trying to do, where he had to do bailouts. The first weekend he was trying a rebreather unit, and then he literally took it home, had it pulled apart on his table, kitchen table, fixed it, and his next dive on it was on the Britannic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely a lot more dangerous. I'm actually gonna try a rebreather next month, so I'm pretty excited to try it.
Right.
Just to see it. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm going to continue on that path. Probably
and
not.
That's it. There's a lot more going on
of the rebreathers, and not only that, it does concern me with the extra training involved and stuff like that, and my disabilities, because I only have one eye. And I find that I already have a lot of stuff to monitor with one eye when I'm doing a dive and trying to enjoy the dive.
Yes. And that's it. There's a lot more going on.
Yeah. For sure. So let's talk a bit about more about some of your books. Like, you have done quite a bit of technical
if we're talking about the writing
in that aspect,
if we're talking about the writing,
tell me,
I think
of all the things that you have done with your
I did a book called
technical writing and stuff.
And technically speaking,
which,
essentially,
what do you like to focus on more? Is there a certain area that you like to focus on?
About why it came about, who the people were
doing your technical,
what the concepts were at the time, and why it came about. The question that you referred to earlier on. And when I was writing that, I was talking to a lot of people who were involved at the time as well, and making sure I got all, it was very controversial, and I wanted to write it in such a way that I paid due respect to the people who were involved at that time. And what came up from the research really was that in those days, we made a lot of mistakes. We got things wrong. We didn't know. I mean, the example of that rebreather course is perfect, you know. But everybody made those mistakes. We just didn't know. But we fixed it every so often. As you were teaching, you know, somebody would have a problem. Everybody would dive onto this problem to try to figure out what had gone wrong and what they could have done instead, and that's how the sport grew. And we didn't get everything perfect, but we identified the major mistakes, the major areas in which you could fail, and the outcome might be tragic. We identified all that, and we designed the course materials, the technical diving course materials, accordingly. And we knew, so you know, in the books that's how to do it right, but we also knew how to do it wrong. And as I was writing, I realized that people coming into technical diving today don't know the wrong bit. They can see what we recommend and what the instructors recommend and everything else, but what they can't see is all the things we attempted that were wrong, that didn't work. And so so having written the volume 1, the history of it, if you like, I then wrote volume 2, which came out just recently, and that essentially goes back to the beginning and talks about the concepts which we follow now and why we follow them, and how to get into diving, how to get into rebreather diving. There's a chapter you should probably read before you go and do your tryout on the rebreather. Have a little look. I don't know. It's probably chapter 3 or 4 or something of volume 2, and it's exactly what you're doing now. Exactly that. It's the things to think about. The yeah, I think you should get that now. If you've got a couple of hours, you know, do that. Okay, cool.
I
Yeah, just have a look. But it's and that's it. That's so the history. The first book is the history, and the second book is my take on technical diving based on
will.
those days, essentially. And
I actually just got a
so
copy
that's
of
what
that
I
one a
focus
while
on.
ago. I've been going through, so I will definitely make sure I go through that rebreather section again before I do my tryout on it.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Michael, obviously Michael recently
technically
passed away,
speaking,
which
was
is
a
very
really
sad.
good book. I
And
enjoyed it
I waited.
because it
I
gave a
had
lot
this
of
book in
history
my
stuff
head for
and
a
talked about
while,
Michael Menduno and all the
and Michael
pioneers
and
of
I
the
had
tech diving, which
spoken
was really
years
good.
ago about
Um,
Michael doing
so yeah, I really enjoyed that one,
book
and
on
it's
the
good
history
to
of
get
those times,
a background
because
of
I was
how
involved
technical
peripherally,
diving
but he was
started.
right at the center of things. He was right there, and he should have written this book. But by that time, he then got involved in the online magazine and In Depth, the thing that he's been doing for the last few years, and he just ran out of time. He did a couple of articles about it for magazines, a kind of brief run through of how it all came about. But I spoke to him, and I said, look, if you're not going to do it, should I do it? And he gave me a blessing, which was very, you know, I was very grateful for, because it, you know, really, he and others, you know, were a much better position to do this book. But if they're not going to do it, I had to be done. Somebody had to do it. We had to get it out there, you know, because it was a moment in. I mean, we're a really niche market. We are a niche area, you know, part of the human experience. But I thought that particular era, when scuba diving changed forever, really, I thought that needed recording, and that's why I did it. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Huge. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Michael, unfortunately just
Yeah.
passed away a few weeks ago. I was lucky enough, I got to know him over the last year. He was on my podcast, when I first started. So I was very happy to get to meet him.
Mm.
He was
Mm.
actually a big influence on
Yes.
my
Big deal.
diving and stuff. In fact, I
People
still
made a
have
people made a
somewhere
big
a
fuss
copy of the
about it.
Bent magazine, because we were gonna meet up at some point and he was gonna sign it for me.
Yeah.
From Aquacore.
Oh,
So
you did? Nice.
yeah, and I mean, even when you started technical diving
You were.
back then, there was a lot of, I mean, even nitrox was bad.
Cool. Very cool.
So yeah, yeah, and I mean, I dove in '96. I
That's
got
right.
certified in '96. I actually took a course from Dick Rutowski up here, and yeah, I was lucky enough to get taught by the Godfather. I'm like, I I have a very short 4-number digit for my nitrox cert. So he's yeah, it's nice
Mm.
when I go to fill
Yeah.
out the logs because I
Yeah.
look at my
If
friends and
see, I
their
mean, if you go back
numbers are like
to those
30
early days,
digits
the
long
early
now
90s,
because
I would
nitrox has
seem
taken off
impossible.
so
It would have
much.
seemed impossible that that would
Um,
happen. But there
I
it is.
mean,
It's
I guess the
completely in the
one thing that
mainstream.
surprised me,
We do a lot
especially
of
when I got
liverboard
back into
diving. We
diving, when
run
I
2
was
or
in
3
Cozumel the
liverboard
first
trips a
time,
year, mostly
we
in
we were going
Southeast
out on a
Asia,
snorkeling trip
and
and
everybody dives
we were
nitrox.
looking at the dive
That's it.
boat
So
and it
everybody's
had
on the
who all
same
was on
gas and they stick
nitrox and on
together.
air, and
And
on like 4
obviously,
dive
with
boats that were
liverboards,
packed,
as you
there were,
do
I think, 2
4 or
people on
5
air.
dives a
The
day,
rest of them, everybody else is diving
in
nitrox.
the old days when we were diving with air, by the time you got to your 5th dive of the day, you didn't have an awful lot of no deco time left.